Welcome to the reading of the Harry Potter fanfiction Amber and Emerald by Contramancer. Chapter 1 Amber and Emerald. In response to White Tiger, Wolf, Polyjuice, Cat Challenge. Disclaimer: neither the world nor the characters belong to me. They are the property of J.K. Rowling, to whom I owe thanks for letting us use her creations to tell these alternate stories. The challenge belongs to White Tiger Wolf, to whom I owe thanks for the letting it be idea that the kick started this story. I'll happily claim credit for the story itself, though. Requirements: must be a Harry and Hermione. Harry and Hermione must both drink the Polyjuice potion contaminated with cat hair. The transformation must be permanent. If Harry and or Hermione become animagus, it must be feline. At some point, it doesn't have to be immediate after the transformation, Hermione must go into heat. Harry and Hermione must be provided with means to hide their transformations from others. Harry must spend summers with the Grangers. Harry and Hermione must learn to fight in their quote-unquote new bodies. Cream and or milk and fresh fish must become their beloved food for Harry and Hermione. Harry and Hermione must both be wary of Lupin at first. They're part feline and he's part canine after all. Harry and Hermione must gain the ability to communicate with cats and be able to speak to each other using this ability. Recommended: lemons. Kittens! Although I should probably clarify to say Harry gets Hermione pregnant at some point. Sirius declared innocent. Kittens, this time I'm being serious. Hermione and Harry adopt a real kitten, or a cub, if you want to use a bigger feline to phrase. Winter Snape. Taken from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 12. Hermione let her robes fall, and Ron backed into the sink. Her face was covered in black fur. Her eyes had gone yellow, and there were long, pointed ears poking through her hair. It was a cat, she howled. Millicent Bulstrand must have had a cat. And the potion isn't supposed to be used for animal transformations. Uh-oh, said Ron. You'll be teased something dreadful, said Myrtle happily. It's okay, Hermione, Harry said quickly. We'll take you to the hospital, and Madame Pomfrey will never ask too many questions. It took a long time to persuade Hermione to leave the bathroom. Moaning Myrtle sped them on their way with a hearty guffaw. Wait till everyone finds out you've got a tail. Chapter 1, Never Alone. It wasn't that Madame Poppy Pomfrey never asked questions. She preferred to only ask those questions that related to her patient's recovery. When Ron and Harry helped their now feline friend into the infirmary, for example, she took in everything at a glance. Animagus or Polyjuice? She asked when she moved to assist the bushy-haired girl. Ron's jaw dropped. And how long ago? Seeing that the Weasley boy would be little help here, she directed her gaze and questions at Harry. The boy in question hesitated. Hurry up and spit it out, she snapped briskly. One is easily dealt with at up to 24 hours, but the other has distant problems if left too long, and the time is of the essence. Harry gulped and started to complain. Polyjuice, Madame Pomfrey, but you got a cat hair by mistake, and it was about 2 hours ago when she drank it, and it took us quite a while to get her to come here. He managed to give her the pertinent facts without lying, quite a feat in his current state. Madame Pomfrey stared at him for a few seconds. He was definitely holding something back, but that wasn't important now. Once Hermione was on her bed, the healer bustled back to her cupboards and began gathering potions. Harry watched as Madame Pomfrey hurried away, and the witch had been upset. Even he could see that much. Turning to his red-haired friend, the young man made a decision. Ron, he said in his voice low, you should go back to the no point in both of us being here or missing dinner. While Ron may have argued with him on the first point, The second point stopped any argument in its track. He was a growing lad, after all. I'll get a house elf to bring you something. The red-haired grinned. Maybe some fish and milk? Hermione's accuracy with a ballistic pillow was flawless. The morning saw Harry still by Hermione's bedside, although somewhere near midnight he lost the battle to stay awake. Hermione herself looked down at his hand, still holding her, as if to say, I'm never leaving you. Her hand was still covered in black fur, with retractable claws replacing her fingernails. A quick inspection with her left hand told her that the changes were still in effect. Her face was still furry and whiskered, her ears were pointed and very mobile, and her tail was still there. A scraping sound caught her attention. She looked up in time to see the hospital wing doors open, revealing Madame Pomfrey leading the three professors whose expertise was essential in this situation. Severus Snape, Minerva McGonagall, and Albus Dumbledore. It shouldn't have been possible, but she also heard their whispered conversation. I'm sorry, Albus, Madame Pomfrey began. It's simply too much time has passed. The standard curses and antidotes just didn't work, and it would have been too dangerous to increase the dosage at her age. I'm at my wit's end. The healer eyes were red-rimmed, her cheeks were puffy from shed tears. If the three of you can't help her, young Hermione Granger will never be human again. It took every ounce of the self-control the girl had not to grasp at the piece of news. As the teachers approached, she struggled against despair. What will Mom and Dad think, she thought. Can I still go to school? What am I going to do for work? How am I going to hide this? Can I hide this? Where can I get more fish? She frowned at herself at that last thought, rose to the surface. It seemed that she was definitely different. A hand on her chin dragged her face upwards to lock eyes with Snape. Her inner cat knew how to deal with being grabbed, and she lashed out, her claws opening several scratches on the potion professor's cheek. On the bright side, he let go of her, however, he was now angry. Before he could draw his wand, however, he felt a hand on his wrist. Severus, I believe you need to calm down, said Dumbledore. It seemed that Mrs. Granger's changes, pardon the rhyme, go even deeper than we thought. Minerva, if you would. Professor McGonagall drew out her wand and cast a stern spell. Virtus corporis et animo. Nothing seemed to happen for a few moments, then Hermione was covered in tiny orbs of golden light. As the lights danced across her, she noticed Harry shifted his weight. He was awake. Obviously, her best friend didn't want to leave her alone, so he was faking asleep. About after 5 minutes, the lights began to gather in the Transfiguration's teacher's hands when they reshaped themselves, merging into a miniature figure of Hermione, complete with fur, ears, and a tail. Madame Pomfrey sighed and just drooped, like a wilting flower. Professor McGonagall began weeping. Professor Dumbledore looked filled with sorrow, and even Professor Snape seemed at a loss, although probably out of fear and disgust more than in sympathy. The headmaster turned to Hermione with no twinkle evident in his eyes. I'm most sorry, Miss Granger, he said. It seems that as if at this point in time there is no way to return you to your former self, although we will try to help. I believe your unfortunate transformation is permanent. Hermione buried her face in her hands and began to cry. The teachers looked away, allowing her time. Professor McGonagall turned to Dumbledore. I believe we can bend certain rules under these extenuating circumstances, Albus, she said, and Miss Granger's parents need to be informed at this trying time. She needs them here. Nodding, he agreed. We shall have to hope that her family and friends are able to accept her now. But remember, Minerva, ultimately none of us can understand what she is going through alone. Harry had been listening and thinking. As far as he could tell, his best friend was never going to be human again, barring a miracle or prodigy of magic, and was going to have to relearn herself alone. He knew loneliness. Hermione and Ron had rescued him from it, and made it all a bit more bearable just by being there. Ron had his family for support, but Hermione's parents were muggles, if not Dursley-type muggles, who were having trouble understanding this at first. She needed someone who knew what she was going to go through firsthand, and who she could no understand the problem. Even with her parents, if they could accept her new self, it was unlikely that she would find that. Harry made his decision, and as a true Gryffindor, he never looked back. As Hermione dragged her hand from his and began to cry, his hand stole into his pocket and the flask therein. The flask with the last of the Polyjuice potion, gathered up as they left Myrtle's bathroom. His other hand removed from his other pocket a hair of the second hair that Hermione had decided she didn't need in the potion. Surreptitiously, she dropped it into the flask and swirled it around. He drank. In the silence that followed Albus's declaration to Minerva, silence fell. A silence only broken by the sound of someone swallowing, and as everyone's attention moved to Harry, he changed.